Did you know Walmart's been getting rid of their $5 movie bins? Granted, it's not every store, and it depends a lot on where you live, but many have just removed the bins altogether, leaving a lone small shelf of $5 DVDs and $7 Blu-rays that are chock full of Steven Seagal flicks, as well as 78 copies of Rugrats Goes to Paris and 1 copy of Black Adam. Luckily, the Walmart near me still has a bin, and it's for this reason, and this reason alone, that I both found and bought Scooby Doo and Krypto 2 on DVD, a movie that I had no clue that existed before that fateful day. Which makes no fucking sense. I love Scooby Doo, a lot more now than I did as a child, and I like Krypto the Superdog, at least this 2005 cartoon. That show fucks. Mashing the two of them together with a mystery of finding the missing Justice League sounds like a dream come true, and yet, it seems like Warner Brothers really didn't care about this movie at all, even going so far as to almost cancel it. Kind of. You see, this movie released back in 2023, aka the Dark Ages. Both Scooby-Doo and DC were kind of in shambles, mainly since their parent company, Warner Brothers, began to chop movies off of their release schedule as if they were Pinky Fingers in a Yakuza game. Of course, this is the year where the fully finished Batgirl and Coyote vs. Acme movies were completely scrapped, but Scooby-Doo had already been dragged through the mud by this point. Both a new television series titled Mystery Pups, as well as a fully finished Scoob prequel film were just tossed into the garbage, leaving the only big project on the horizon, Velma. Sorry if you caught a stray for those who liked that show, but fucking hell, man. Scooby and Krypto's development was leaked sometime in 2021 thanks to a job listing. It was actually leaked from a data mine of the animation studio, Digital Emation. That's where the story was broken that this movie was even coming out. I don't know where the fuck this job listing came from. I looked for the source of the image, and apparently it's from this Twitter page that just posts sporadically, and it posts this random cropped image of a job listing. It could be legit, but I don't fucking know where it came from. But there was never any official confirmation from Warner Brothers, and there wouldn't be for some time. The two other Scooby-Doo films would be released, a Courage the Cowardly Dog crossover in 2021, and Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo in 2022, all without any word on Krypto. That short-lived yearly output of 2 direct-to-video Scooby-Doo films really slowed down to just 1 a year, which could be chalked up to the plague. But in the midst of the Warner Discovery merger imploding all of their IP for some reason, it seemed like this somewhat ambitious Scooby-Doo and DC crossover could very well be the next victim of the illustrious tax write-off. This was never officially something that DC was seeking to do, it was simply rampant fan speculation. But with the past couple years that WB was having, it didn't seem like this movie's chances were any better. And so, as much as I hate how much of a stronghold they have over the tech market, thank God for Google Drive. Yeah, in March of 2023, someone with the right access uploaded the entire 76-minute movie to Google Drive, which is very on brand for that service. I honestly can't tell you how many movies me and my friends would pirate in high school solely through Drive uploads. Same as it ever was. WB tried to scrub the movie from the internet, but it was too late. Twitter, BitTorrent, 4chan, it was everywhere. Even when the uploads were eventually taken down, this project from 2 years ago is now back into the limelight, with lots of fan blogs and social media posts clamoring for an update. And coincidentally enough, an official trailer would finally come out, giving us the release date for September 26th, just 2 months later. Was Scooby and Krypto going to be cancelled? Maybe, I don't really know. It's sometimes hard to parse between legitimate production problems and PR speak, like when Peter Safran called Batgirl not releasable. Yeah, okay, sure, Jan. It is a bit weird that this was announced exactly 2 months before its release, but I'm more focused on whoever leaked the movie. Wherever they are, in all the 7 seas, I hope they're getting their ass eaten. What about the movie itself? Well, after looking online, wondering if I was the only person out of the loop, I saw a lot of people sort of shrugging this movie off, characterizing it as pointless filler or even woke. Man, if anybody's got a mind virus, it's me after reading this shit. Overall, I liked the movie a lot more than I thought I would, but I will say that whether or not you're familiar or fond of either property will definitely gauge how much you enjoy the overall package. For better or worse, there's a lot of that Scooby-Doo formula at work here. Shaggy and Scooby are hungry and scared for the first act, there's a couple red herrings, the whole movie is set in one location, this time the abandoned Hall of Justice, the gang splits up, there's an entire subplot about Fred and Daphne's relationship, which I ended up liking a lot, plot, there's a chase montage, and an entire scene where Velma unmasks the obvious villain. But this isn't really a bad thing. Reveling in a property's childish or cartoonish history and playing it straight can be endearing when done well, rather than just using it for self-aware jabs and jokes, which both Scooby Doo and DC are guilty of, the latter especially with an entire cast of characters that are almost marked as unadaptable, with Krypto being a major victim of this. As comic books went into the modern age and wanted the medium and, by extension, all of their adaptations to be taken a little bit more seriously, Krypto the Superdog was often ignored or shelved entirely outside of his animated series in 2005, a handful of comic book stories where he doesn't have powers for some reason, or he gains powers and then he loses them, I don't know, as well as a recent inclusion in both the Superman and Supergirl DCU films. And while animation isn't strictly a kid's medium, it is easier to convey wackier ideas through drawings. So by reveling in the ridiculousness and slapstick of Scooby-Doo, the comic bookiness gets to stretch its legs as well without feeling like a big joke or a jab at what came before, which is a big part of why I like this movie.
All around me are familiar faces.
Seeing characters like Gigantia, Solomon Grundy, or Lex's assistant Mercy be adapted with no cynicism whatsoever makes me appreciate the decades of history and stories that brought us all here. And fan favorite characters like Joker and Harley Quinn have like 3 minutes of screen time tops, so thank God this is just another Joker the movie, man. I want to see a version of Folly and Do where Scooby walks in on the bathroom scene. If you've been on this channel a while, you know I'm a bit iffy on fan service and references, but here a lot of the references feel less like member berries and more like world building. Once I saw the suit from the fucking Dark Knight Returns in this movie, I realized that it was onto something. Also, there's that moment where Lex references that Superman was on Broadway.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and I saw Superman the Musical.
Dude, that play began in like 1966. How fucking old are you? I fucking love Lex in this movie, man. He's adapted in a way that feels accurate, where he's constantly perceives himself as the smartest person in the room, while also not sticking out like a sore thumb at all. He doubles as the comedic straight man, only to deliver some of the funniest jokes in the movie, hands down. I liked how he spent most of the runtime with the gang. Speaking of which, most of Mystery Inc. is fine. I don't think Velma really got much to do outside of that one Lois Lane gag at the beginning, and Shaggy just kind of feels like he was a bit on the back burner, which isn't a huge issue since the focus here was supposed to be on the friendship between Scooby and Krypto, except Krypto doesn't talk. Most of the film consists of classic voice actors reprising their roles once again. Frank Welker as Scooby and Fred, Grey DeLisle as Daphne, Matthew Lillard Shaggy, Kate Micucci's Velma. Granted, that's the regular cast for Scooby-Doo at this point, but even Nolan North got to play Superman again, for like the second time in 2 years. There's actually a lot of connective tissue between this and Kill the Justice League. I did this video to step away from that game for a moment, not to just tie right back into it. The only newcomer that I could tell was Charles Halford as Lex Luthor, who is a dead ringer for Clancy Brown's Lex from the DCAU. I'm saying all this shit because it would have been a nice opportunity to have Sam Vincent return to play Krypto, since that character will probably never speak in any DC media ever again, because for some reason the idea is perceived as too silly. Men dressing in latex fighting other men? Fine. A talking dog? What the fuck? I get that Scooby is special, hence why he gets to talk, but man, I would have loved for the two of them to have their own rapport that builds throughout the movie. As is, there's a few small moments of them goofing off together, but from there, Krypto's just another part of the gang, which is a bit of a shame. However, the entire mystery is solved with 15 minutes still left. Yeah, Lex's assistant Mercy is revealed as the one behind it all, obviously. Using a Phantom Zone projector, she sent the Justice League to the alternate dimension in order to take over the Hall of Justice and restart the Legion of Doom. Since in this universe Lex gave up villainy to have a short stint as an evil president, man, don't know what that's like at all. Except of course, Lex knew about this betrayal and reveals that he's actually Kira, and he ate the potato chip! Lex reveals that his bulldozers that were meant to destroy City Hall are actually kryptonite-powered robots, leading to a Scooby-Doo action scene. Something I frankly thought never would exist. Daphne and Mercy fight? It's not for long, but they land blows. Krypto goes up against Rex Ruther, a robot dog who's also powered by kryptonite. I love that fucking name, by the way. Fred and the Red Herrings use Wonder Woman's invisible tank and jet to fight the other robots, and all the while, Scooby and Shaggy just sort of bounce around all over the battlefield. Then Velma rewires one of the bots and gets into a rock'em sock'em fight with Lex. This movie's fucking sick. I get that these are kids' movies, but especially with the lack of any action cartoons in the past decade or so, upping the stakes in a Scooby movie like this was pretty satisfying. How on earth is this filler? If anything, I want more of this. Once Krypto gets a projector, he releases the Justice League from the Phantom Zone and... Wait, where the fuck is Batman? This is especially weird because there's a running joke that Fred has one of Batman's belts and it has terrible gadgets all in it, so I thought I would end up with Batman showed up and be like, oh, that's my April Fool's outfit or some shit. I don't fucking know. But he's just a fucking no-show. I think the implication was for the viewer to make any one of the other Scooby and Batman crossovers canonical in their headcanon, since it's established that the gang already knows Batman personally before the movie even starts. Maybe his removal is due to some behind-the-scenes legal shit, like when Gotham couldn't use Joker and Harley Quinn, which is yet another one of those weird DC decisions. Man, maybe they've just always sucked at managing themselves. Again, it's a good movie. It's just a shame that it might be the last of its kind. It's disappointing that Scooby Doo has been sort of relegated to a merchandise machine in recent years. The character's revolutionary staying power has sort of been stumped since Scoob and Velma. I liked Scoob. I thought it was cute enough. That shared universe shit was dumb though. It doesn't help that it seems like Warner Brothers has all but completely given up on the yearly direct-to-video market. DC seems to have gone out with a rushed connected universe, while Scooby-Doo's just been sort of slowly losing steam. The franchise's 26-year run of a yearly movie since Zombie Island ended in 2023 with Krypto. And since then, there's been absolutely no word on a new film whatsoever, and I don't think that that's going to change at all. And despite owning the copyrights to all of these characters, Scooby and Krypto isn't even on Max, which is a Warner Brothers service. Maybe this is some rooting in business bullshit I'm not privy to, but it definitely feels like an attempt to shift focus from smaller projects to solely big multi-million-dollar movies, leaving a smaller scope franchise like Scooby-Doo at a crossroads. There's gonna be another incarnation, there always will. When? Who fucking knows? All that matters is that, if this is a temporary end to the character's output, it was a pretty strong exit. One that confirms Fred's canonically into clowns. That motherfucker definitely pre-ordered the Harley Quinn fart comic.
Alright!
Like I'm starving, Scoob.
Me too.
Like I'll have 400 kids club meals.
Me too.
Look who's pulled into Burger King! Scooby Doo and the whole gang! You can collect all 5 toys, one with every Kids Club meal.
Thank you.
Burger King Kids Club. Great food, cool stuff, kids only.